shred ceremony helps you to overcome those things and have a more auspicious afterlife after a material life. So we did that, and then we worship Lord Damodar with candles, and that brings us to the next thing, which is that it's the New Year for many people, because on the day that Ram came home marked the beginning of the calendar, and in India it's much like Christmas or New Year's in one sense. You know, people exchange gifts, there's fireworks, and there's lights everywhere. So it was like that in Ayodhya, and so we're going to... I was trying to find something, you know, that was appropriate for everything that we're doing. Lord Damodar, the passing of Janta's father, and Lord Ram's returning to Ayodhya. Kind of hard to combine everything, but I found one discourse, a little class, given by one of my godbrothers, a very prominent disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who helped him to establish things in Bombay, back when Srila Prabhupada opened his temple at Juhu. And so Giriraj Swami, he gave this very nice speech to people. I assume it was last year, or maybe he wrote it and posted it on his Facebook, I'm not sure. But here's what he says. He says, we wish you all a happy Diwali. Diwali or Dipavali marks the end of the year, and by the year's end, we want to pay our debts, rectify our relationships, and then try to do better the next year. The Vedic literatures inform us that in the present age, Kali Yuga, the recommended process for self-realization or God realization is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Lord Krishna appeared about 5,000 years ago and spoke the Bhagavad Gita. And at the end of the Gita, text number 66 from the 18th chapter, he instructed, Svavadamam prityaja mamekam saranam braja aham tvam svavapapejo mokshayishami ma suja. Give up all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I will deliver you from all sins. Do not fear. What? How do we surrender to Krishna practically? It is a big question. Therefore, Krishna himself came again about 500 years ago as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and showed us how to serve Krishna and develop love for Krishna, especially in the present age of Kali. He quoted one verse from the Brihan Naradiya Purana, Canto 3, Chapter 8, verse 126. Hare Nam eva kevalam kalo nesteva gatiranyata. One should chant the holy name, chant the holy names, chant the holy names of Lord Hari. There is no other way for success in the present age of Kali. Lord Chaitanya himself demonstrated how to chant the holy names. Actually, there are two methods. In japa, one chants softly, not loud enough that at least, but loud enough that at least he himself can hear, or she can hear. Our acharyas have recommended that we chant on beads, japa mala. I suggest that is a New Year's resolution. You all begin to chant at least one mala round every day. And that those who are chanting already try to increase. Suppose someone is chanting 2 malas every day. In the new year, that person can decide to do 4 malas, or whatever he or she can manage. 1 mala will take 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know about that. It's taking me 15 minutes nowadays. So that is japa. The other method is kirtan. Kirtan means loud chanting. And we had some examples of that. All together, usually with musical instruments such as mridanga, kartals, and sometimes harmonium. That collective chanting of the holy names of God is very effective in the present age of Kali. What does chanting do? As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, Chaito Dapana Marjanam, chanting cleanses the dirt from the mirror of the mind. If you want to know what you look like, you have to look in a mirror. But if the mirror is covered with dust, you cannot see. So we have to cleanse the dust from the mirror of the mind. Then we can know who we are. In ignorance, we may think we're the body. We may think that we're black or white or red or yellow, man or woman, American, Russian, Chinese, or African. We have so many designations based on our falsely identifying with the body. But Chaito Dapana Marjanam, when we clean or clear the dust from the mirror of the mind by chanting, we can actually see who we are. Not the body, but the soul within the body. The soul is not black or white or male or female or Russian or Chinese. The soul is pure spirit, part and parcel of God, the Supreme Spirit, Krishna. So, chanting will cleanse all the dirt from the mind or the heart. But how does chanting work? A verse from the Padma Purana quoted in the Madhya Lila of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 17, text 133, explains, Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Puna Sudo Nitya Mukto Binatwam Nama Narminaha. The holy name of Krishna is transcendently blissful. It bestows all spiritual benedictions, for it is Krishna himself, the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna's name is complete, and it is the form of all transcendental mellows. It is not a material name under any condition, and it is no less powerful than Krishna himself. Since Krishna's name is not contaminated by the material qualities, there is no question of its being involved with Maya. Krishna's name is always liberated and spiritual. It is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. This is because the name of Krishna and Krishna himself are identical. The holy name of Krishna is Krishna himself. Abhinatvat nama namino. There is no difference between the name and the person who has the name. In the material world, or the relative world, there is a difference between the name or word and the object. For example, if I am in the desert, dying of thirst, and I chant, water, 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 just chanting, water, water, will not quench my thirst. Because the word water and the substance water are different. But in the spiritual world, the absolute world, the name of a thing and the thing are the same. So when we chant the holy name of Krishna, Krishna is actually present, dancing on our tongue. Thus, because Krishna is all pure, when we associate with him by chanting the holy name, we become purified. Chaitodopana marjanam. And when we become purified, when we become Krishna conscious, we automatically develop all good qualities. At present, we have qualities that are good, and we have other qualities that are not so good. Usually, at the end of the year, people make resolutions for the new year, how they will improve. It may be that one will try not to lose one's temper anymore, or try not to overeat. We make so many resolutions, but after some time, we fail in our determination because of weakness in the heart. The one resolution that will eventually help us develop all good qualities and keep our other secondary resolutions is the resolution to chant the holy name of God. Diwali also commemorates the return of Lord Ramachandra to Ayodhya. You all know the history of how Ram was banished from his kingdom into the forest. In the forest, Ravan kidnapped Sita and took her to Lanka. Then Ram and Lakshman searched for Sita. They made alliances with many monkey warriors, and eventually they came to the southern tip of India. They built a bridge across to Lanka, and eventually Rama killed Ravan, which is commemorated by Dasara or Ram Vijay Dasami. Then Mother Sita was tested in fire, and she emerged pure. Rama, Lakshman, and Sita, accompanied by other associates, returned to Ayodhya. So the residents of Ayodhya, to prepare for the Lord's arrival, placed lamps on the rooftops and balconies and celebrated his return. Then Lord Ramachandra was installed on the throne. So we also want to welcome Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, into our hearts. Just as we clean the temple before we install the deity, so that the temple is a fit place for the Lord to reside. Similarly, we each want to welcome Lord Ramachandra into our heart, to install him on the throne in our heart. But to make our heart a proper place, a fit place for him, we had to cleanse it. Therefore, on the auspicious occasion of Diwali, we chant the holy names of Rama and Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama.
So Chaitodopana marjanam. The heart is cleansed. Then we can welcome Lord Rama into our hearts and install him on the throne of our hearts and celebrate his presence. So, this should be our resolution, to purify our hearts so that the Lord will have a proper place to sit there. And who could be more fortunate a person than he who has Lord Ram or Krishna with him? There are many Ramayanas or histories of Ramachandra, but the most authorized in Sanskrit is the Valmiki Ramayana. Consistent with that version, the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam also contains a short Ramayana. And at the end of the Bhagavatam's Ramayana, there is a statement that during the reign of Lord Ramachandra, all the citizens were peaceful and happy, just like in Satya Yuga. There are 4 ages that repeat in cycles, like the seasons. Satya Yuga is the best of the ages, the golden age. Then come Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. The Bhagavatam describes that during the rule of Lord Ramachandra, all the citizens were religious and completely happy, healthy, and peaceful. Just like during Satya Yuga, although it was actually Treta Yuga. Srila Prabhupada comments that by God consciousness, Krishna consciousness, one can invoke Satya Yuga or Ram Raja, even in Kali Yuga. Therefore, the same Krishna who appeared in Treta Yuga is Lord Ramachandra, appeared in Kali Yuga is Lord Chaitanya, to introduce the chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
and Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
So, if we take up the chanting of the holy names, we can not only invoke the presence of Lord Rama within our hearts, or welcome Lord Rama into our hearts, we can also recreate the situation of Satya Yuga, the situation of Rama Raj. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada remarked, people want the kingdom of God without God. But we cannot have the kingdom of God without God. We cannot have Ram Raj without Ram. But if we invoke the presence of God, of Krishna, by chanting the holy names, we can have the same experience of Satya Yuga and Kali Yuga. We can have the same experience of Ram Raja when it's described in the Bhagavatam. I'll repeat that. We can have the same experience of Ram Raj when it's described in the Bhagavatam. Rama loved all the citizens, just like a father loves his children. And all the citizens loved Lord Ram and obeyed him, just like children love and obey their father. By Krishna consciousness, we can have the same situation even today. And if, on this Diwali, you can take a vow, make a resolution to chant every day in the next year, and in all the years to come, that will bring you all auspiciousness. We pray that the Lord will bless all of you in the year to come, and that you will also take the blessing of chanting into the new year. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Tat Sat. Jai. So, not quite 1:30, we'll stop at 1:30. I heard a really interesting story yesterday. It's very appropriate for people like us in Kali Yuga, where we become so attached, and then when something happens, it devastates us. This little girl, her little brother passed away. And she was really upset. They were Hispanic, and the whole thing was in Spanish, but they had a translator they had very softly the Spanish going on, and this translator very sweetly told the story in English. And so she didn't understand. And when she saw the boy in the coffin, she wanted to hug him, but she had to stand on her tiptoes just to look in. So she hugged the coffin, and then the family had to take her away, and she wouldn't move. But they finally got in and put her into a room, and they didn't want her to go back. So when everybody went to sleep that night, because the funeral was actually in the house, so she went back to her mother's room where the coffin was, and she looked and she touched her brother, and she talked to him, and eventually she sat down and fell asleep in a chair. And in the morning they came and they said, it's time, we have to take him to the graveyard. And she couldn't understand when they were putting the coffin in the grave. She said, don't do that, he'll suffocate. They said, he's already gone. She couldn't understand. And so anyhow, they all went home, and the mother was, very devastated, more than the daughter. And that night, or some nights later, she was just feeling lonely for her brother, and she stopped eating, she stopped playing with other kids, even her sisters. But one night, she's sleeping, and suddenly she feels someone next to her, and she thinks that it's one of her sisters that come into the bed with her. So when she turns and looks, it's her brother, and she doesn't know what to think, and she touches him, and he's warm. And so she looks at him, and he's in the same dress as at the funeral, and she talks to him, and she says, is that you? Are you there? I think his name was Santos. He says, yes, I'm here. And so they had this conversation, and finally she said, let's go tell Mom. And she said, no, Mom can't hear me. Mom can't see me. Why? He says, because I forget exactly what she said, why the mother couldn't. But anyway, he was saying, I'm cold and it's dark. When she asked him how he was, he says, it's cold and it's dark. Why? Why is it cold and it's dark? He says, because Mom keeps crying for me. So it's cold and it's dark. And so every night the little boy would come. And the sister got more and more infatuated. She would go to the mother's room and take the little boy's toys out, and they would play. One night even the mother woke up and said, what are you doing? She said, oh, nothing. And the boy hid behind her, and she tried to cover him up, and then she convinced the mother to go back to sleep. And when the mother went back to sleep, she looked and he wasn't there. She looked around, she couldn't find him. And then, but he came back. Actually, it was a very long story. I have to make it short, and I didn't really compose it in my mind, so I'm getting it a little mixed up. But eventually, she's becoming where she's not doing anything in the world. She just lives for meeting her brother at night. She's not studying at school. She's staying up all night long. She's going to sleep in school. She's not playing with any children. She's giving her food to her dog. Nobody's noticing. She's not eating. And one day the grandmama comes and she says, there's something going on here. We're taking this girl, to the family priest. And they go to this where it wasn't actually a priest. It was this lady who, takes care of problems like this. And she didn't want to go. She was frightened, and she didn't want to have anything to do with it. They had a hard time getting her there. And then she didn't want to listen. But the lady knew exactly what was going on before the mother could explain it. She said, your son is taking his daughter with her because he's cold and he's in the dark because you won't stop crying for him. She said, you need to do a prayer service for 9 days. Every day you have to pray. And so they do that. And the daughter she won't pray. She's afraid if she prays, he's going to go away. She doesn't want him to go away, and she's afraid. He's in the dark. He's going to go away. What's going to happen? So, but they make her, every day they make her come there, and they make her kneel down. She won't even kneel down. They make her kneel down and pray. And then gradually, day by day, she starts to pray, and it seems to get better. The brother's coming. And finally, at the end of it, he comes one night. And he says, she sees him and she talks to him and says, I'm not going to be coming anymore. She said, why? He said, well, I can see now there's light. There's light. Yeah, there's light. And I'm playing with other children. And so she interrogates him, has this big conversation with him. She says, Mom's not crying for me anymore. And now I can see there's light. And there's other children to play with. And there's a very good man. He's waiting for me. And so she looks and she sees the children. She sees the man. She says, are you going to go with that man? He says, yes, he's a very good man. So now I'll be going, okay? And they hug and he starts to go, and she looks and she sees him. She sees him go down the patio, and she sees him go off, and then he's gone. So the next day, she actually, tells her mama, and gradually she tells her mama everything that has happened. And she gets back to normal, and she's going to school, and she's recalling this later in life. She's, this lady is telling what happened to her as a child. And she said every now and then her mother would ask her, why are you looking up? And she would say, because I want to see the light. So it just shows how in this material world, we become so attached. And the attachment doesn't do us any good, nor anyone else any good. So Krishna consciousness helps us to be attached to Krishna. That everything is Krishna and everything is moved by Krishna. Like in the life of Srivas, Lord Chaitanya, who we just talked about, who brought the chanting of Hare Krishna to show everybody how to surrender to Krishna. When they were having kirtan in his house, his son passed away. And all the ladies were crying, and Srivas said, stop this right now, because they were in a different room. He said, stop this. I don't want anyone disturbing Lord Chaitanya's chanting. If everyone knows the glory of Krishna. Everyone knows that my son has left this world and is now in Vaikuntha with Lord Narayan. Anyone who leaves hearing the holy names and in the presence of Lord Chaitanya, what can we expect? So if stop this crying now. If you continue to cry, then I will take drastic measures. I will drown myself in the Ganga. Please don't disturb Lord Chaitanya's kirtan. So he goes back and he's chanting ecstatically. But words going around. Srivas' son passed away. Srivas' son passed away. And finally Lord Chaitanya says, there's something happened here. What has happened here? And so they all tell him. And he said, when? They say, well, 7 hours ago. About 2 hours after sunset. And now it's like 5 in the morning. 4 in the morning. So just tell us and we'll perform the funeral rituals right away. And so Lord Chaitanya says, take me there. So he goes and he says, why have you left? And the dead child begins to speak. I have left because my designated time has come to an end in the house of Srivas. I've enjoyed myself very much. I appreciate the devotees, and I'm so happy to have served you, but I'm only a servant, and now I am being sent to my next body. So I beg your permission to go. Please allow me to go. And the Lord gives him permission, and everybody's just amazed. It was a little bit longer than that. They've all received very good spiritual instructions from the boy. And the family became happy. Everybody took the dust from Lord Chaitanya's feet, and they took the boy to the Ganga and performed the funeral rituals. So in Krishna consciousness, everything becomes auspicious. What is very hard to tolerate, death of a loved one, even that that becomes auspicious in Krishna consciousness. Even Ram, we know, had to suffer from separation in this world. But, he continued to perform his duty. I mean, after all, that's what he's famous for, the epitome of performing one's duty. And for thousands of years performed Jaga, although Sita had already left. He continued to perform his Jaga without even accepting another wife. He would sit with a murti of Sita and perform Jaga. And when it was time for him to go, he took the whole city with him. And they all returned to the yogi and the spiritual stuff. So these sound vibrations are not different from Krishna. They're the same as Krishna. And by us hearing them, our lives become transformed. And we also become devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and relish an eternal relationship with Him and also join Him in His Leela. So that becomes our Leela in this world, returning home back to Godhead and helping others to return back to Godhead. And there's no better way to return back to Godhead and to solve all of our difficulties. There's one Christian minister I heard recently who said that the greatest addiction, and we know there's many addictions, especially, the opiate addiction has been a big advertised one. It's practically destroyed many middle-class American communities all over the nation. But he says, greater than that is pornography. And he's really studied this. And he says it's very, very difficult to free oneself from this addiction. He says it takes utilizing 5, 6, 7 different methods all together and working on it daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, never giving up. So I was thinking, by chanting the holy name, there is one panacea, one method that could actually help, where even generally speaking, one method is not enough. But this chanting of the holy names is so powerful. It can be enough, not that we should neglect doing other things, but the holy name will actually give us the power to do those other things. But the holy name is so potent, it can take the greatest sinner and even turn him into the greatest devotee, such as this person, Valmiki. He was the greatest sinner. And he wasn't just a pervert. I mean, this guy was a serial killer. And getting away with it. He didn't just serial kill once, like many of them today. He didn't take his own life. I mean, he serial killed on a daily basis. But Narada Muni tricked him into chanting the holy names of Ram. And he became such a great saint that he's the person who composed the Ramayana. So that's the power of the holy name. And in this day and age when nothing's like Satya Yuga, nothing's good. Everything has its skeletons in the closet. Krishna is just giving us himself in the form of his name for our own good. And if we take advantage of it, especially on a New Year day, we can actually derive the greatest benefit. And we can, take a little vow, maybe chant a little bit more. If we chant a whole lot already, and it's tough, making your rounds like it is for me. I mean, when it starts to turn into 15-minute rounds, it gets really difficult, So, they're pleasurable, they're wonderful, but it just takes more time. If your schedule's filled, it becomes very difficult to find that time. So, but we can, maybe just add a mantra or two, and that will make things even more auspicious. We can't figure out how to get things done that we wanted to get done. We're not getting any cooperation because no one wants to follow my lead. So what do? We simply can chant. that is that's the best lead. We can lead ourselves and set that example that Krishna is with us and Krishna will provide. Krishna saved Arjuna. Krishna has saved people all over the world in different cultures and different religions, different ethnic existences. So Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Almighty God, He can save each and every person in the world. And first let us save ourselves, and then maybe we can help somebody else. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guys, so let's take prasadam. That's another cool way. We just go take Krishna's prasad, Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We have to offer Joy's husband. We have to offer his dad our blessings because they're sponsoring the food today, the prasadam today. It's not food, it's certainly not feed. So the prasadam is being sponsored by Joy and Janta on behalf of Janta's dad. So everybody please give your blessings to Janta's dad, please. Srila Prabhu Jai.